Hello again, everybody. I want to say thank you for watching my first video. I have got enough courage to do a second video now. I have 6 subscribers, which is 6 more than I ever anticipated. So thank you to those who have subscribed or watched the video. My first one, I very much appreciate it. I wanted to share a little bit today. I went to an antique toy convention, the 60s Batman and such stuff. And they had some records there, and I picked up a few. I want to share those with you and tell you a little bit about each one. For my videos, I wanted to give a little bit of the record, but I wanted to give a little bit of about what's around the record, like how it influenced music or how it influenced other artists just to do something different. So I wanted to go through a few records. The first one I found there was Johnny Rivers live at the Whisky A Go Go. If you're familiar with Johnny Rivers or 60s music, there was that driving, like, single string guitar licks, like, say, with Secret Agent Man, which was Johnny Rivers. But he did a lot more than that. There's a song called Poor Side of Town that's not actually on that record. That's actually my personal favorite. He used bar chords on the guitar in a time that was very early on in rock music, using the bar chords to really play a complete song. And it gave that 60s distinctive sound, like through a Vox amplifier, if you know anything about amplifiers. The second record that I picked up was the songs of Kris Kristofferson. A lot of people know Kris Kristofferson as an actor, not so much as a singer or songwriter. But in the early 70s, Kris Kristofferson was one of the leading singer-songwriters. Like, everyone wanted to book Kris Kristofferson. Everybody that was singing in some dive bar or an open mic, they wanted to be Kris Kristofferson. Like, they wanted that type of notoriety for their music. My story that I wanted to share about Kris Kristofferson was actually he was the one to give John Prine a break, to really break him into the industry. And I know that anybody that knows me, John Prine comes up a lot in my stories. But the short story is John Prine was playing a bar in Chicago. He had got a job there playing, I think, twice a week. His best friend, Steve Goodman, who was also a singer-songwriter, was playing across town. And he actually opened for Kris Kristofferson that night. And Kristofferson walked up to Steve Goodman and said, "Hey, I really love your music." And Goodman said, "Well, if you like me, then you're really going to like my friends playing across town." And that was Prine. So they drove across town. Prine's set was already over. The chairs were up on the tables. And in walks Kris Kristofferson. And Prine's up on stage. And Kristofferson tells him, play a couple songs for him. And so Prine plays some of the staples he had then that he'd just written. I think he played Hello in there, Sam Stone, and a couple others. And Kristofferson told him to play those songs again and play every song he's ever written. Pretty soon after, Kristofferson had invited him to New York with Goodman. They, I think, signed a record deal within 24 hours of being in New York. And it was all thanks to Kris Kristofferson and Paul Anka at the same time, kind of showing him the ropes and giving him that door into the industry. The next album I picked up was John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band. Now, if you're not familiar with John Cafferty, then you're like a lot of people. They don't know who that is. But if you know the movie Eddie and the Cruisers from, I think, 83 or 84, somewhere around there, it was a movie about a band called Eddie and the Cruisers. It was kind of an unofficial Bruce Springsteen story in some ways, because it was all about that Jersey sound back then in the late 60s, even late 50s, that real saxophone driven, rough, rock and roll, that Jersey sound. John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band played the entire soundtrack for that movie. I did not know who John Cafferty was. Michael Paré, the actor who plays Eddie, the voice of Michael Paré and the voice of John Cafferty were so similar. And when Michael Paré sang as Eddie Wilson in Eddie and the Cruisers, I thought that was him until I learned that it was actually John Cafferty, this guy. Now, for me, I have a very hard time watching John Cafferty play because in my mind, it's Eddie Wilson. So if you're into that, that Bruce Springsteen Jersey sound, I would highly suggest checking out John Cafferty, and I would start with the Eddie and the Cruiser soundtrack, and then move into Tough All Over, which is this album, which I did not have. Another purpose that I kind of wanted to bring into my videos was to maybe introduce people to bands that they didn't really know, but they might enjoy. So the first person that I want to share with you that I picked up over the weekend was Arlo McKinley. Arlo McKinley is out of, I think, Cincinnati. He's been around for a while, but he didn't really get any albums out. This is his first album that was just released on Oh Boy. He has another one that was released a few months ago, also on Oh Boy Records. But Arlo McKinley is a really good singer-songwriter. His songs are very good. And if you're a guitar player, the chord structures are not very difficult to follow. You can pretty much learn any Arlo McKinley song, within a few minutes, because it's really straight chord structure. As long as you have a capo and a guitar in tune, it's not hard at all. But Arlo McKinley, he has so many good songs and so many songs about heartbreak, the way that alternate country really is. But the thing about Arlo McKinley is he does a lot of free stream concerts since COVID happened. So if you go to Facebook or his website, there is usually some sort of free concert he's doing where he'll play, 5 or 6 songs, or even a full band set of, like an hour of material for totally free. So that has helped me get through, these quarantine times, is those free concerts that he puts on. The last band that I want to introduce you to is a band that I've been a fan of since probably 2005, and that's American Aquarium. This album is actually Burn, Flicker, Die. This is from, I think, 2007 or 2008. This record was their goodbye to their fans, because they had, I think, released 3 albums before that. None of them really took off. And so they decided they were going to write an album that was a goodbye to their fans. They were going to break up the band. They were going to go back where they grew up, and they were going to get jobs, because music was not in their future. And they were playing, I think, over 300 shows a year, and they were trying their best to make it, but they never really could get that break. So they made this last album, Burn, Flicker, Die, as a goodbye. Luckily enough, this album was produced by Jason Isbell. And for me, they're saying goodbye to their fans and writing songs that are really, a last hurrah, if you will, for all the people that followed them for so many years. That's really when they came into their own. This album launched them. This album made them play bigger places. It made them actually be able to afford to be a musician and live. So now they are currently, the lineup of American Aquarium changed about 3 or 4 years ago. The singer and the main songwriter for them is still there, but the rest of the band left to pursue other opportunities. So that is an excellent band to check out. They are a good example of a rough and rowdy alt country band. They've played, if you're from North Carolina, they've probably played every bar, every country fair you can think of, or county fair you can think of. But they are really good. So I would highly suggest checking out American Aquarium and Arlo McKinley. And if you're a fan of the Jersey sound of the 50s, 60s, and 70s of Springsteen, then I would suggest checking out John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band. Also, there is another band that Springsteen actually helped launch, and I don't have any of their vinyl records, but it's Southside Johnny and the Asbury Jukes. They have that Springsteen sound because they were mostly produced by Springsteen in the early to mid 70s. They came out of that Jersey scene just like Springsteen did, and they cut their teeth in the same places, so they kind of have the same sound in a lot of ways. I really appreciate you watching my video and commenting below, and also subscribe if you like it. I hope to have another video up as soon as I find some more records. So thank you so much, and have a great day.